PLI or Production Linked Incentive Scheme announced by the Government of India has been creating a lot of buzz. The scheme is aimed at developing India as a nation focused on manufacturing and export to bring in growth and enable prosperity. It's abundantly clear that the growth of a nation can only occur when the growth in export happens. While these measures are being taken, its success also depends on the growth of the shipping and logistic industry, and if you do not have the capability or scale to move manufactured goods within and outside the country, we cannot successfully achieve the planned level of growth. While the details of PLI have been widely discussed in the mainstream media last week, in this episode of Logistically Speaking, I will be talking about why this scheme have been announced, its importance, where it stands today, and what are the challenges it's likely to face. Over the last decade, the Government of India has been focused on facilitating ease of doing business, and initiatives were taken to implement policy changes that would minimize hurdles and create an environment that's conducive to growing business. Many policy changes like new labor law and uniform taxation laws were designed with keeping this in mind. From the year 2020, the focus changed from ease of doing business to addressing the cost of doing business. This change is induced from the fact that any country which aspires to grow its manufacturing industry needs government support. If you look at countries like China and South Korea, we can see that their growth as manufacturing nation was a result of government support that helped scale up production facilities. The Chinese government offered significant schemes like grants up to 60% of project cost, preferential lending rate, 50% subsidies for R&D, free land, import duty exemption, etc. Similarly, the government of South Korea offered tax incentive, rebates on property tax, duty-free import of capital goods, support funds for SMEs, to name a few. This PLI scheme announced by the Government of India is in this direction and aims for some specific result. Number one on this list is, it is estimated that the scheme will enable production worth $500 billion over the next 5 years. Number two, it's aimed at growing specific product segments across 13 key sectors. It includes non-tariff measures aimed to compete more effectively with cheap imports. Number four, the scheme will encourage foreign companies to set up manufacturing in India. Number five, the scheme will enable local companies to set up and expand their existing business in India. It aims to blend domestic and export sales to make manufacturing more competitive and sustainable. A natural outcome will also be the generation of employment. This scheme is designed to make India the manufacturing hub of the world. And lastly, once this is implemented, it can result in the growth of Indian export by helping us move away from being a net importing country. As per expert, the Indian manufacturing industry's disability gap is 8 to 11% in comparison to other manufacturing nations. The PLI scheme, launched with a budgetary outlay of 1.97 lakh crore, will address 4 to 6% of this, which will be distributed as an incentive to the sectors identified. This scheme has been extended to 13 segments that you can see from the screen. The formalities have been simplified, so it is easy to avail, help boost output and export without floating any WTO rules. Some automobile and electronic companies like Samsung have already started availing this incentive, which only required showing incremental sales of 4 to 6% over base year. While PLI addresses 50% of the disability gap, the rest need to come from other factors like scale and efficiency of production. Over the past 3 months, there was a surge in demand from Western nations due to the rise in consumption and fall in production from Asian nations like Vietnam, Indonesia and Thailand due to second wave of COVID affecting their production facilities. The buyers switched to India as an alternate, and if we can maintain and scale up production capacity, we can continue to cater to this surge in demand. Though the picture looked great, there are many challenges in every segment where the scheme is announced. This scheme would help in a big way to reduce the cost of production. But though this is an important factor, the cost of production is not the only factor. The scaling up of the production requires growth in local consumption. One of the reasons China could scale up was also due to the massive consumption existing in their country and the growth of their middle class, whose increased purchasing power enabled consumption of high value product. Let me give you the example of air conditioners. 75% of global home AC export is from China, whereas India is exporting merely 0.5% of home AC. And the Indian target is to reach 10% of world export by 2025 with the support of PLI. Though this looks attainable, it's tough when we compare other parameters. Room AC penetration in India is 5%, whereas in China it is 87%, while world penetration stands at 60%. And there lies the problem of scaling up. Since the local market in India is not strong enough due to the lack of enough middle class and higher income population, the economies of scale will not help. In short, to justify the local manufacturing and to achieve economies of scale, Indian local demand for white goods like AC, TV, mobile need to go up significantly. Apart from this, there are other factors like need for improved logistics, ensuring water and electricity at affordable rate, advanced port facilities and warehousing facilities. Though all these challenges are real, the opportunities due to the current world political scenario can aid the Indian ambition of becoming the manufacturing facility to the world while increasing manufacturing as a percentage of Indian GDP to 25%. Well, thank you for watching. I look forward to hearing your views as well. See you next week.